IPS officer. Mr. Azad, the cold-blooded murder, first of Sidhu Moosewala, which happens in Punjab, and now DSP Surendra Singh, in which he is mowed down by impunity. Are we seeing the rise of criminal gangs who have been so far perhaps in hibernation? What is it that is forcing them to shed all fear and take out their targets so ruthlessly?
Maria, the mining mafia is entrenched deep all over the country. From the Son River in Bihar to the Chambal ravines in Madhya Pradesh and the Chambal River, to even Bellary in Karnataka and to the Aravali, the eco-fragile Aravali. It's really entrenched deep. Mind you, in 2012, an IPS officer was killed in Morena. That was again the mining mafia. And will you believe it that 6 years later at the same place, another forest officer, deputy ranger, was killed. And any honest officer who wants to be there, like this gentleman who died, are moved out or transferred. Therefore, the malice is very deep, as you have pointed out. This is not the rise of any criminal gangs. Mining mafia is indulging in organized crime and needs a very, very strong political will to crush the mafia. But in this case, as you rightly pointed out, the entire sequence needs to be seen very, very closely. There were some lapses. It's unfortunate that a life was lost. There was no backup. Suddenly he came on the scene. But I think it's a matter of great shame and tragedy for any state to lose officers like this. When it is very clear, the locals were complaining about this mining going on.
Yes.
And this was going on for quite some time. And yet if the response is like this, it's absolutely unfortunate.
What is evident here is also police, politician, and also criminal. Perhaps there is some kind of nexus that exists. And that brings me to a question that will be raised to the government that is running Haryana. Mr. Gulia, सवाल आपसे उठेगा. Since 2015, about 50 complaints of illegal mining are registered every year in No alone. When we look at the larger sand mining menace that is there in Haryana, this entire Aravali Hill, as Yashwardhan Azad was pointing out, Mewat, Faridabad, there has been a lot of questions that have been raised. And since 2002, because this entire region, the mining is banned, but it is continuing. What has your government done to ensure that there is crackdown? Because had there been that fear that they cannot continue with impunity, then perhaps this officer would have been alive today.
Listen, first of all, we are shocked and saddened by the news, devastating news, and my deepest sympathies to the family. But as a part of that, you can see that the strictness is on these illegal land mining mafias. That's why this young dynamic officer,
Kya strictness hai? What is the strictness that you're talking about?
The strictness is that's why these land mafias were under pressure, and the police was having regular checks and raids on them on regular basis. And I can assure you, police will take strict action against all these criminals.
No, but all this is fine after the death of an officer who was there on duty, and he is killed. I mean, he has been killed in the most shocking way when a truck runs over him only because he was trying to tell the truck driver to slow down. So the questions are being raised at multiple levels, Gulia ji. आप लोगों का बस ये कहना कि हम उनके साथ हैं बहुत दुख की बात है. दुख की बात तो सही है, लेकिन ये हुआ क्यों, ये घटना हुई क्यों, ये सवाल है.
नहीं, मैं आपको एक चीज स्पष्ट रूप से कहना चाहता हूँ, ये घटना क्यों हुई, क्या कारण हुए. It can all be revealed after the investigation, but I can assure you, like, the people of Haryana gave us the responsibility to drive the state. So it's our responsibility to look into the matter and I can assure you on your national TV that nobody will be spared after the investigation. And as you can see, one of the accused, Ikrar is being engaged in an encounter by the Haryana police.
Swati
and
Malik,
he's in,
Swati Malik, this has happened not just in under a particular regime. The larger question is that the governments of the day in Haryana have failed to really control this menace, and they continue to happen. The larger sense is that a criminal can kill a cop in a cold-blooded, it's in a broad daylight with nothing happening against him, and even if there is an action, the cop's life won't be back.
Absolutely, Maya, and it's very shocking, the obnoxious manner, the vulgarity by which this act of killing this police officer who was on duty was carried out, the confidence with which the truck driver just drove over him. Now what we have to see is what is the reason behind this confidence that the truck driver had? Who is the one protecting him? And even if one is arrested, who is the main person behind this?
Yes.
Who is the mastermind behind this? Just arresting one person and who will hear no end of, whether he's sentenced or he's given a punishment, what is the result of this arrest? We never get to know of that. Also, reason being for that is, Maria, that by NCRB survey and records, Haryana is the third worst in terms of filing charge sheet. Right? So if you see the average of the entire country, it is 82.5% where charge sheets are filed, whereas in Haryana, it is down to 39.7. And this laxity on the behalf of Haryana government, Haryana police, is working as an enabler for these people, for these criminals out there, for these mafias out there. So there is this organized mafia, organized crime which has entered Haryana, and not just about the sand mafia, even the one who, these gangs who claim to say protection money for that matter, that has also increased multifold in last 7 years, 8 years. If you remember, there's a businessman who got shot in jeans because he did not fulfill the demand. There was another
Mr. Gulia, point being made by Swati of the overall illegal sand mining, violence. I do not have, state specific data, but from December 2020 to March 2022, violence and accidents have killed 418 people. That is the fact. If it is happening in your state and you run an alliance government with the BJP, you will be held accountable. Who are people in your government who are protecting these sand mafias? And what has the state government done to ensure that the cops who are doing this kind of crackdown, they get some kind of safety and protection?
Listen, 2 bodyguards were with the DSP, but the thing is, it can only revealed by the after the investigation that what had happened in the incident. But the thing is, it's shocking, and it's all the crackdowns were made by the government and the police officials on these land mafias. That's the outcome of these crackdowns from police and other departments, that all these land mafias are...
But when the entire mining has been banned in Aravali Hills, in Gurgaon, Faridabad, Mewat, because of the Supreme Court order, why is it still continuing? Why hasn't quarrying in Bhango stopped? Because close to 31 of 128 hills have vanished because of illegal mining. What are you doing because of that? आप कर क्या रहे हैं? बस ये बड़े-बड़े जुमले और बड़े-बड़े promises.
As you revealed in your report that the DSP asked for the papers and the truck driver rushed over him. So it means like police is having a crackdown on these criminals. Police is having a regular check on these illegal mafias. That's why the police is on raid. And they crack down the truck and they ask for the papers.
Why hasn't illegal mining stopped?
Not every truck in Haryana is illegal. That's why the cop asked for the papers. Some